So in this video, we're going to talk about gratitude. So the ideal concept of gratitude, reality of gratitude, and my experience with gratitude. So a lot of people think they can just write down 3 things every day and they'll be grateful all the time. From that moment forward, like Disney, like you've entered Shangri-La, like you're there. You just do it 1, 2, 3 every day. I'm grateful for being awake and can breathe, and then there's water. I can drink water, something like this. And then all of a sudden, the rest of your day is supposed to be filled with happiness. That's what everybody thinks, or a lot of people think. I certainly did. And then the reality. So the reality is you're driving to try to get to work, or you have to get somewhere. There's a long line of traffic and red lights. Someone's cutting you off. That is like, oh, I should be grateful now. No, you start yelling, cursing, swearing, that. Or you go to the mail, get the mail, and you pull out a bill. And it's like, oh my God, what the heck? Where did this come from? What is going on? Not usually when we're feeling the most grateful. The phone rings and you get the worst news. Someone you love, something happened to them terribly. It's like, oh, I should be grateful. What? No, come on. That's not how it is. So this is my experience with gratitude, my reality with gratitude, my experience with gratitude. So I've been meditating since 2002. I've been sober since 2003. I've been completely sober since 19. And by that, I mean, I'm emotionally sober and physically, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. I'm aware that I'm responsible for myself. Now, I'm not putting it on other people. And that took me a long time. And it's one of the gifts that happened in 2019. I did my 12 steps. And I highly recommend everyone does that if that's a situation where you're in, because then you get real freedom. You get freedom to be responsible for yourself and clean up your side of the street, stop blaming others. And I wasn't just not grateful when I was learning about gratitude. There's grateful, ungrateful, and entitled. And I was entitled. And that was awful to realize. So I was like 2016, I think, 15. I spoke to my cousin, Steve Foran, amazing guy. Been studying gratitude for 2 decades now. He's been committed his life to it, maybe a little bit more. I talked to Steve and I got a chance to start working with Steve and talking to Steve a lot. And I realized that not only wasn't grateful for what I had, I wasn't ungrateful. I just was like entitled, like, oh, I should have these things. So I started putting a lot of effort into this, and I kept a journal, the 3 things every day. And I read a lot about gratitude. I read Steve's book about gratitude. I read lots of books from Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. I read books from Thich Nhat Hanh, from Brother David Stein Rast, Thomas Merton. My favorite book that I found to keep my gratitudes in is the 5-Minute Journal. But I think that the real thing that I've learned about gratitude is being realistic. Is like, I can be grateful, but also experience different emotions, you know? And there's going to be things that have happened in my life that I'm not that happy with. And there's going to be things that happen that I'm super happy about. And it's easy to be grateful, like when I have a great time and I'm out having fun with my friends, or, you know, I go down with a trip with my best friends down at Boston, or I hang out, you know, with my family, or I go surfing with my girlfriend, and all these things. Those are amazing. But it's not the best when I get hit with like a $1,000 bill for my car, or one of my best closest relatives has something happen to them, where they have a health issue, or some dear friends separate, they get divorced, you know, all these things. And what I've learned about gratitude is that it's an evolution, and that it's not just like, oh, I just am grateful all the time. But if I put the effort into it, like going to the gym or anything, it's accumulative over time. So I started the process in about 2015 to try, trying to be more grateful, actually being appreciative of what I have. Because I saw other people and they were grateful. I'm like, oh man, that's amazing. I wish I was like that. Then I go back, but I should have this, and I should have this, and I should have this. And so I stopped that, which was nice. So I stopped being entitled. as best I could, and I was more ungrateful or grateful. And that's a big step. And then being grateful more. And then in 2023, I actually had a day, I will never forget it. I was grateful. I was like, oh my God, I was grateful for water and the shower and the toilet and my clothes, and I had a job and I had money and I had a car and I have friends and I have a great relationship and I have a spiritual teacher who I love, and probably the greatest gift of my life right now is my relationship with my father. It's the biggest gift I've gotten from doing the 12 steps. And I don't blame anyone anymore. I'm not angry all the time. It was so many things. I have so many amazing books to read. I have 2-3 computers to use. I have a phone. I have all these things. And it hit me and I was like, oh, so it took about 8 years probably to have a real day of gratitude. But now I'm grateful more than I'm not grateful. So with gratitude, I think that we have to be realistic, that sometimes we're just not that excited about what's happening. And having time, and like I say all the time to everybody, give yourself grace, give yourself patience, be kind with yourself. Like, life is hard. It's very hard to be human. It's very hard, especially when we have all these ideals to live up to in our own minds, and then from society, and then from our phones, and from stories we've heard since childhood. And we can just start to see all that, give ourselves kindness, give ourselves patience, give ourselves grace. And if we can give it to ourselves, we can start giving it to other people, truly. And then we can have those moments of gratitude, not forced on us, not telling ourselves, oh my God, I have to be grateful and I have all these things, because that's not the case sometimes. Sometimes you have everything and you're the least happy. And there's so many examples of that throughout history. And there's some people with so little and they seem happy. So it's not the things that are going to make you happy or going to make you grateful. It's the understanding of the fact that the gift is just in the knowing, in the awareness, in the now of like, oh my God, I have so many things. And it's worth it. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes patience, it takes kindness. Be grateful. Be grateful for what you have. And usually it's people a little bit older, I'm almost 50, so it's funny to say almost, because it's like, I'm getting to that age now, but anywhere like, so 60, 70, 80, and they're like, be grateful for what you have. Be grateful. And at times when it's like, I'm not grateful right now, and I don't appreciate this. But that's the wisdom coming from those generations who have studied for so long and so many decades of just be grateful. Be grateful for what you have. And more will be given to you. And if we're not grateful, usually that's when stuff is taken away. So it is difficult. It was for me to get going with it, but now I am grateful more than I'm entitled, which is amazing. And sometimes I'm not grateful, but at least I'm aware of it. I'm like, oh, look, I'm, being a little snot today. Like I'm being a little bit, I want my apple. I want my blanket. I want my whatever. But at least I'm aware of it, and I don't put it on anybody else, and I don't blame anybody else. And it's like, I can have a laugh at myself and enjoy it. So, take the time, be patient and kind. Steve Foran's Gratitude at Work's got a great place. You can read other people's gratitude. That's fantastic. The 5-minute journal is fantastic. Just find your way to record your gratitudes, figure out how you do it. For me, I always like to read people that have lived it and done it, and what did they learn and how did they do it. And because ultimately it comes down to them just sitting around, basically seemingly doing nothing, but being completely happy and jovial with what is now. And that's the goal, I think, and being grateful. And if you're even aware of the fact, like you're even watching this video, like that you want to be grateful, that's the first step. That's amazing. And then just go for there. So know that there's the ideal, there's the ideal in the beginning. Oh, if I just do this, because you hear about it, you see a video on YouTube, 1 minute. Oh, just be grateful, write down 3 things every day. And I had a lady say this to me, I do all this. And it's like, yeah, okay, you did it, you wrote it down, but then there's like 16 seconds and then the rest of the day. And a habit takes 21 days to change. For some people, for some other people, it's 287 days. Depends on who you are, your makeup. So that's, again, patient, continue, like you don't just go to the gym and all of a sudden you can deadlift 405 pounds. Some people can, some people can't. You can watch all the stories about all the great athletes like Caitlin Clark. I love her to death. Caitlin shoots jumpers all the time. She's always practicing. She's always practicing, always practicing. So practice your gratitude. Figure out your way, because there's nobody else but you to sleep on your pillow. Figure out your way. Have fun. have some joy, have some love, have some laughter with it. Laugh at yourself, like, oh my God, look at me. I'm so ungrateful for this, and don't be so serious about it. And then you can move away from entitled to a little bit ungrateful to a little bit more grateful. And then you can have more gratitude and then more love. And then someone's going to ask you what you've done. So for me, it's writing down the 3 things in the 5-minute journal and some prompts that they have. I read Steve's gratitude every day online. You can sign up for that. I'll put the link in the description. And then I just read about it as much. Oh, and the calendar, I have a calendar every day that I read. I have down in my kitchen. It's, daily gratitude. And I get an email from those guys as well. And I'll put a link in for that as well, for the calendar and the email that I'm signed up to. So for me, I take it really serious, and I put a lot of effort into it, because if I could be anything, grateful would be the most amazing thing to be. And it just takes effort. It takes me a lot of effort, but the effort's worth it. So I hope this helps. I made a video a couple weeks ago, and someone suggested, can you make one on gratitude? So I've done that. Other questions, some people ask about letting go. And so the next one will probably be about letting go and acceptance. And if anybody has any other questions or things I'd like to talk about, because I'm trying to be as honest here as I can and vulnerable and tell the truth about my experience. Yeah, I've been meditating for 20 years. Yeah, I have an enlightened guru who's incredible, but that doesn't make me enlightened. I struggle like anybody, and I want to be honest about that. But I've learned a lot of cool stuff in the last 20 years, and especially the last 6 years since the pandemic and going through my 12 steps. So I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions, comments, leave it down below, and look forward to hearing from everybody. Hope this helped. Let me know what else you'd like to hear about, and have a great one. All right, bye guys.